I know is here. Dawn, can you hear? Pat, how are you? Pat DeGangi? Yes. Mike McGinnis? And they have set up the monitor so far away, I can't read. In the striped shirt, please tell me your name because I can't read it from where I'm sitting.
It's Mark Heinlein.
Mark Heinlein?
Yeah.
Hi, Mark.
John Engel. John, this is Mike Kelly. We are now live on YouTube.
Okay. The meeting has not yet started, and we may start a couple minutes late because we got thrown into live meeting very rapidly thanks to changes in the executive orders and Governor Wolf's agreement with the legislature and whatnot. So there is a quorum present, and I'm going to ask everybody's indulgence. And if you have something you need to say, and for any reason we can't hear you, wave your hand, hold up a note that says, hey, something or other. And please be generous with your sympathy on us trying to get through this with some on GoToMeeting, the coming through the phone, and so forth and so on. Sean, there's Sean. Sean, are we ready?
Yeah, I think we're ready to go. We can hear you loud and clear, so let's start.
Good. It is 1 minute after 7. I'm not going to apologize for being 1 minute late tonight. I'd like to call this meeting of Chalfont Borough Council to order. Now I am going to apologize because I have to get out the agenda. There we go. Would everybody do their best to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag? Pledge allegiance to the flag for which it stands, one nation. Thank you. And Don, would you call the roll, please?
Ryan Wallace.
Here.
Tracy Bowen.
Here.
Jeff Coddington. John Engel.
Here.
Mark Glidden.
Here.
Marilyn Jacobson.
Here.
Michael Kelly. He is here though, isn't he?
No, I don't believe.
He was in a car.
Mike Kelly, are you there? It appears not.
He was here a minute ago. He may be in and out a little bit, but we'll see if he can let us know when he comes back.
Didn't Mike make the announcement we were going live on YouTube?
He did.
He was just here a minute ago. He's a passenger in a car, so he plans on participating just via phone.
Mitch Meyerson.
Here.
Dia. Dawn.
Sean is here.
Here.
Mike McGinnis.
Here.
Pat DeGangi.
Here.
And Rich O'Brien. And I see Officer Milligan is also here.
Yes. Captain Milligan is here. Also we have Mark Heinlein and James. And again, my visual acuity, I think help me out, James. What's your last name?
James Pupo. Thank you, sir.
Pupo. Okay, I thought it was, but I really didn't want to mistake. And I see Kevin. Kevin, what is your last name again? It's because I'm sitting far from the monitor.
Oak.
Oh,
Oak.
is that right? Okay,
Yep.
good. This meeting is being recorded, is being broadcast on YouTube. We have a physical quorum present as required by state law. And present in the room is Mitch Myerson, myself, John Engel, Marilyn Jacobson, Tracy Bowen, Mayor Wallace. Don Tremmel is in the office, as is Sean Curran. Mary Jane Clemens had made a suggestion to me a while ago when she was watching one of our meetings. And if anybody makes a motion or seconds a motion, the nicest thing I can say about an idea is I wish I had thought of that, and I wish I had thought of this. If I were to make a motion, I would say, so moved, John Engel, and that makes Sean or Don's life so much easier. So if you make a motion or second a motion, just say your name after it, and it'll make life easier instead of having to figure out who said something. And with that, I am not aware of any changes, additions, or deletions to the agenda, and we will move to public comment on agenda items. Do any members of the public wish to comment? And if you'd raise your hand, I'll try to call on you one by one so we don't have a free-for-all. And I see no effort for public comment, so there is no public comment. Don and Sean, did we receive anything that we need to enter into public comment, either by email or earlier today?
Nothing other than what was emailed out from Mary Jane Clemens.
Okay.
Mike Kelly.
I'm trying.
Yes, Mr. President, I am back on. We did go through a dead spot real quick, but I am present. So
okay, we were trying to. We didn't know where we had lost you, and Never Land, Mr. Kelly. Thank you, sir. So Mike Kelly is present. Sean, where is Mary Jane on the agenda?
She's not. She dropped, what she sent in was from today. So
okay.
it was after the agenda was put out. She just asked that, we bring up the fact that she had turned it in, and it's available for anyone on council to review, and we can, put a link to it on our website, I guess, if anyone else has interest in looking at it.
Excellent. And to be fair to everybody on this, Mary Jane has given us some historical reference data relative to our sister city, Chalfont. Oh Lord, on Giles, yes. As our manager Sean Curran said, this will be made available for public viewing on our website. Probably tomorrow is my guess, as opposed to trying to do it during the meeting. So we have no public comment. Would anyone care to make a motion for the consent agenda to dispense with the reading of the minutes from the May 10th, 2021 council meeting with disbursements from the general fund of $167,409.77 for the month of May, with the financial report to be filed for audit?
This is Marilyn Jacobson, and I'd like to make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second, Tracy Dawson.
Thank you. Any comments, questions from council? Anybody on the virtual meeting? I see. If you want to participate from the virtual meeting, council members, please raise your hand, because it's the easiest way, or say, hey, John, that's fine. Okay, we've had a motion and a second. No, there is no discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And is there anyone opposed? That motion then carries unanimously. Thank you. We have no special items tonight. Mayor Wallace, mayor's report.
Just one thing, I received a letter from the Bucks County Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. They're asking for a sponsorship from the borough. I don't believe that we've sponsored them any before or in any years past. They're asking for a minimum donation of $500. I will leave that up to council to decide whether they want to contribute to that.
I think the policy is that we can contribute as individuals, but not as a family. Is that okay?
Yes,
Okay?
that is, honestly, that is my recollection, that, we have asked council if they wish to contribute to please do so. As individuals, you can put it in the name of Chalfont if you choose to. But and it's not that we do not support worthy causes, but we're not, in the past, the general opinion, I would say, has been, we are really not comfortable with determining how to support charitable, societies or foundations, because we are spending taxpayers' money and we don't really have a referendum on how they would like us to do that.
That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Anything for the police commission?
Nothing new for the police commission, although, Marilyn, do you want to speak about the building?
The building is on schedule, continuously, contractor supposed to be.
Excuse me, I can't hear Marilyn at all.
Okay. I can't move the phone, but you can move to the phone and I'll move away. She's coming your way, Dawn.
Okay, Don. The building is on schedule to be completed August 19th. Then there will be furnishings that have to be put in place. So it'll be mid to late September when the police department will move. We're progressing plans for moving the department and also for a ribbon cutting. That's all I have.
Thank you. Yes, Mitch.
So, when last spoke, where do we stand with getting full-time officers versus part-timers?
That's in discussion now. That will actually be one of our discussions for our next council meeting or our next commission meeting.
Finance.
Yeah, on the finance committee, because the finance committee first. We're kind of debating on how to fund it, basically. We're under budget so far this year, so that's looking good. It will probably increase our monthly, each borough's monthly contribution. But it is on the top of our list. We're budgeting for next year.
Short officers right now?
Well, we're never really short officers, but what it does is it forces some officers to work 18-hour shifts. And I don't want to quote numbers right now because I don't think it's appropriate, but there's been a lot of 18-hour shifts in the work. And what happens sometimes too is not only do we have staffing, but there's injuries. There's people that are out for, 4 to 6 weeks for something work-related or non-work related. So we do need, in my opinion, at least 3 more officers, working probably on one at a time.
Okay, this will be announced at the end of the meeting, but for reference, the next Central Bucks Regional Police Department Finance Committee meeting will be Thursday, June 17th at 6 p.m. at Del Val College in the large auditorium. And the Regional Police Commission meeting will be at 7 p.m. that same day, June 17th, again at Del Val. This is, and we'll announce that again at the end of the meeting, but I just thought I'd pass that along since we brought it up. And both of those meetings are open, are scheduled and open to the public. Public Works Committee, Mrs. Jake, you are done, are you not? Okay, Public Works Committee.
Yes, the report is in the packet. Later tonight, we have an agenda item, talking about easement for a sidewalk. So we'll do that at that point. I should also report on the 5K. We had 63 runners. We still need to hear how much money we will be receiving from the whole series at the end of the year, but we're close to, well, the Shelf Hunt Challenge made after expenses around $1,500, and hopefully we'll be closer to 3,000, but I'll note that at the end in July.
Very good. Mr. Connie, okay. Facilities Committee, is there anything?
The Facilities Committee did meet on June 3rd. We discussed the option for meeting in person in July, and that decision's been made for us, so pretty much what we discussed at the meeting is irrelevant at this point because there's not really a discussion to be had since we have to go back to in person. Other than that, we just discussed a couple other housekeeping items, and that was it.
Just on the back, continue with the web, talk webcasting, but what we're doing now is going to be close to what we can do, because the pandemic has showed us new ways of getting these meetings out there. And the other thing was discussing, obviously, window shades in the building.
That would be good. Okay, that's it for facilities, unless there's something else. Utilities, Mr. Myerson.
Nothing new on that.
Okay. The Finance Committee has not met in the past month. And Gia is not on the call for the Junior Borough Council or in the meeting for the Junior Borough Council report. So we will move to staff reports. Manager's report, Mr. Curran.
Sure. The Butler Avenue Aqua Main Replacement project is moving along. It has obviously taken longer than expected, but you'll see down in Bridgeview Park, there's a lot of equipment down there, and they're working on boring the new water main under the Neshaminy there. So they hope, if everything goes well, they said a week and a half, and this is the first full week. So hopefully sometime next week, that portion will be done, and they have two small connections or, day connections to make, and then they can mill and overlay what's left of the project. So we're anxiously waiting for that. Other than that, the Public Works Department received the new zero-turn mower. The front-end mower was traded in. They picked that up today, and the new one was dropped off this morning. So the Public Works Department thanks you.
And we thank them, or at least I think we thank them for what they do. Yes, Mr. Myerson.
Earlier today, we spoke about, we are working on looking into code changes for construction sites.
Sean, Mr. Myerson was asking if you're looking into changes in zoning?
I am working with Rich O'Brien on what we can do with that as far as what requirements would make sense to put in place to try to, when there's a large project going on that isn't storm damage or fire related, a planned project to make them put security fencing around anything that could be hazardous, if not the whole site. We're looking into options.
Good. Mr. DeGangi, anything to report for the engineer's report?
Thank you, Mr. President. You have a copy of my written report. I have nothing to highlight or add. If anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to try and answer.
Nobody seems, they're happy with your report, Pat. Thank you, sir. I'm sorry?
We didn't say we were happy with it.
Mike McGinnis, solicitor's report.
My report is in the packet. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Captain Milligan, anything to report from the Central Bucks Regional Police Department?
In your packet, you'll see a nice article that recognized our victim service unit within the department. Pretty nice article we had written up about them and what they've been doing so far. Also in your packet, you'll see the statistical data for the monthly report. Only thing really to note on that is a slight uptake in some incidents or calls for service, and that's pretty much due to the COVID restrictions being lifted and people kind of coming back out of hibernation, so to say.
Very good. At the risk of being a little bit too flip, my experience with driving tells me there are people who haven't driven for a year and forgotten how, and there are people who have been pent up for a year and are going crazy. So be careful out there, folks. It's amazing. And the Public Works report is in the packet. In addition to the borough staff, I would like to extend my thanks and actually admiration to the Public Works Department, who has kept our facilities, especially outdoor, where they're getting so much use, in such good shape. So I just want to pass compliments along to Pat and his people. You also have the Chalfont EMS April and May reports, the Chalfont Fire Company Chiefs April and May reports, and Chalfont Fire Company's first quarter operating report in the packet. And we will move to action items. Action item number 1, consideration to approve a waiver request of section 4, item A of ordinance number 261A for 18 Westview Avenue. Sean, I know Sean or Pat, who would like to perhaps, or even Mike McGinnis, who should speak to this, if there's any background to be given?
I'll give a little bit of background. The property sits right at the corner of Westview Avenue and North Main Street. The development that sits directly across 152 from it has a 6-foot-high privacy fence facing out on Main Street. And the commercial property behind 18 Westview Avenue has a wrought iron, but it's also 6-foot-tall fence. And this resident is asking, since he technically has 2 front yards, he's asking to be able to put a, not privacy fence, but a 6-foot-tall wrought iron fence to match the commercial property behind him on what he considers his side yard, which faces Main Street. This, is to keep his kids and dogs, so that they can't jump over the fence or balls can't roll out in the Main Street. Rich O'Brien's looked into this. It is far enough back that it'll have no sight distance impact from the intersection. There is in the packet, you can see, where the fence is proposed to be. It's quite a distance back from the sidewalk. And, the idea would be that he would do plantings inside and outside to kind of break it up, but he's asking for a waiver so that he doesn't have to go through the full, zoning process to try to get a variance.
Sean, I'm looking for 261A right now. There's a reference in that letter indicating that this is not part of the zoning ordinance, that it was an independent ordinance that was passed by the borough in the past, and because it's not part of the zoning ordinance, then it would be right for borough's council's consideration with respect to granting a waiver.
That is correct.
Right, so that, if this was a zoning item, then it would actually be the purview of the zoning hearing board, but since it's not, then it's for consideration by council.
That is correct. Thank you for clarifying that.
And if I may, in the letter that Mr. Ganju sent to council, he specifically references, and I'm going to say because I've read my packet and spoke with Sean, that there is no sightline problem. It's an open fence. It's far back from the road. And he is concerned about the safety of his children and also balls and whatnot going into the street. So it would be appropriate at this time if somebody would care to make a motion to approve a waiver from section 4, item A of ordinance number 261A that reads, height, front yard fences shall not exceed 4 feet in height for 18 Westview Avenue to allow a front yard fence that is 6 feet in height.
Marilyn Jacobson, second.
Don, Tracy made, I don't know if you heard it, Tracy made the motion and it was seconded by Marilyn Jacobson. Okay. Yes.
Since this is a waiver and we're only saying fence, I think this wrought iron fence is perfect.
Well, it matches, yeah.
So down the road, in the future, what if they decide to put up what I would call privacy fence?
Ah,
So I'm wondering if we should be a little more specific about the type of fence.
Yeah, this could be a problem, down the road, that fence gets almost torn down.
And once there's a waiver,
let me,
So, Rich say that it's not a site distance issue?
he did, but let me sort of restate Marilyn's comment, correct me if I'm wrong, only because of the audio issues we may or may not be having. Mrs. Jacobson pointed out that rather than issuing a waiver for a 6-foot-high fence, my understanding of what you're saying, Marilyn, is to make the waiver specific to the fence as indicated in the letter from the resident, a 6-foot-high wrought iron fence matching the neighboring fence. Is that a fair restatement of what you've said?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I have an issue with that too. She said exactly my point. What happens if this gets changed?
Well,
The waiver can be made to restrict it so that it does not allow, it does not allow for a privacy fence. You can stipulate what the fence might, you can probably, give a little bit better verbiage to this, but we can, limit what's allowed even in the future, correct? Mike?
Council is listed as a condition of approval of the waiver.
Is the waiver for height?
the waiver is for height with an indication from the resident that it would be a 6-foot-high, looks like a wrought iron fence, although it will be aluminum according to what I've read, with, I forget what the opening is. So perhaps I could be of a little bit of help if you'll just give me.
What's the current restriction? Is it 5?
4.
4? I thought it was, oh.
No, it's 4 because it's a front yard.
Because it's a corner lot,
Yeah.
then it's tricky because, as Rich O'Brien says, one man's ceiling is another man's.
Right. I thought it was 6 feet for fences, was the height. In the back.
I normally don't make a motion, but given our acoustics, I'm going to, nothing says that I can't, it's kind of tradition. May I suggest, I would like to make a motion to amend the motion before us that says a waiver will be granted for a 6-foot-high aluminum fence with spindles every 4 inches, effectively matching the existing fence on the neighboring property. Mike McGinnis, is that an adequate reference?
Yes, but if council is, if the concern by a majority of council is, what if this changes? I would just make a note that if the homeowner were to change this to seek approval for a privacy fence, that a condition would be they would come back in front of council for subsequent approval.
Okay, I will include that as part of my motion to amend the motion. Is there a second to that motion? Marilyn Jacobson seconded that motion. Yes.
The motion, can we include specifying the color? I mean, what if someone comes years later and paints it really white?
If I would say, we are granting a waiver, we could, let's do it the easy way. Mr. Meyer, and I'm restating things because I'm not sure how the acoustics is working tonight, quite frankly. And if I misstate when I restate, if I make a mistake or change your meaning, please correct me because I'm not trying to speak for people. Mike McGinnis, can we put that this is to be a black fence as part of the waiver?
If you're granting a waiver for fence design, you can include reasonable conditions associated with that. And I would note, and I think people have addressed this before, but my understanding is because this is a corner lot, technically speaking, due to the corner lot, we call it in land development a double frontage lot. That means that there are 2 front yards technically, even though the intent of an ordinance isn't always to regulate the side yard. Properties that have 2 front yards fall under the ordinance restrictions for fences, oftentimes because of the happenstance of fronting on 2 streets. So I would just state that for clarity as well. But council could impose reasonable design conditions in accordance with granting a waiver if that's council's preference.
Okay, so on
Mr. President?
yes, Mr. Mayor Wallace.
Well, I have a problem with restricting it in color. It's almost inviting him to do something with it. Plus, I don't believe that we can legally restrict any color of anything outside of the Heart District. I think that maybe the waiver should be that it can't be a solid fence.
Well, wasn't the waiver that it matched the fence that is abutting? So match would mean same style, same color, same height, like the amendment we made said it's gonna match. So match means exactly that.
I guess the state was matching. All right, so the problem with that is, what if the neighbor changes it, that's down the road?
Can we,
Personal preference?
Yeah, what if they change that fence at one point? That's the problem with this, wouldn't say.
can we just include an Exhibit A and we'll put a cut sheet of the fence that's to be installed and it has to be like we can keep that with it, Mike? Would that work?
Yes, you could say in substantial conformance with the picture or document that's been provided to council.
And so what we have then is the original motion amended to include a 6-foot high aluminum fence with spindles, what was it? Every 4 inches, a friendly amendment to the amendment would be to include Exhibit A to show the typical fence that is being approved specifically. And let's realize at this point, what we're doing is giving, if this waiver is granted, effectively saying, yes, do what you said you were going to do to this resident, but we have protected possible changes down the road for whoever, for whatever reason, owns the property. So, Mr. Pupo, yes.
Is this a resident in Chalfont View by chance?
It is.
Okay, because he has not put a request in with our HOA yet, and a 6-foot fence is not going to be approved.
Well, we cannot. Mike McGinnis, help me out when I jump into the pond on this one. I hear what you're saying, and I'm not disagreeing with you, but at this point, the ordinance prevents him from contemplating a 6-foot fence. As far as meeting the requirements of the HOA, that would be between the HOA and the landowner. Am I correct, Mike McGinnis?
Yes. So this would not, just like any matter with private parties, this is not granting de facto permission for a private party to engage in an action. If they're governed by the rules and restrictions of an association, that person's still bound by those rules and restrictions and would need to follow those guidelines. But the borough obviously is not going to have memorized all of the particular restrictions in the associations that might be listed within the municipality. So what the borough can only do really is limit this from their perspective, and then he would need to follow the guidelines with the association before moving forward. And if he doesn't, then it's an issue that the association can address.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and because this is part of the public packet and part of the public record, to make your life easier, Mr. Pupo, the requester and I apologize to him if I'm going to say Anil Ganju, 18 Westview Avenue, because
Yeah, I
not
know,
speaking,
I know him
not-
well. I've had to knock on
not
his
speaking, I'm not trying to speak for him nor for you, but I would hope that if, with this knowledge, you might be proactive and avoid an issue with one of the members of Chalfont View down the road. That's
Yeah,
all.
I'll speak with him. Thank you.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Any more question, comments, discussion from council? Mitch?
Before we go, can you restate what we're looking at?
Yes, I will do my best to restate what we're voting on. We are voting on, hang on. This always happens when I turn pages, folks. We are voting on to approve a waiver request of Section 4, Item A of Ordinance Number 261 for 18 Westview Avenue for deviation from the 4-foot max height on a front yard fence to a 6-foot max height fence, aluminum design, spindles not more than 4 inches apart, 6 feet high, as represented in Appendix A of the, is it Appendix or Exhibit A of the residence waiver request. Is that adequately stated, Mr. McGinnis?
That's fine, Mr. President, yes.
Okay, that is what we are voting on. If nobody objects or thinks that I have deviated from what we have said. Okay. So any other questions, comments from council members? Anything from the public? Seeing none, a vote is in order. Frankly, this is neither an ordinance or resolution, therefore a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? That motion carries 6-0. Thank you all. And good discussion. Honestly, good discussion. Action item number 2 would be a motion to approve certificate of appropriateness for HARB application 21-04 for alterations and repairs for parcel 07-008-001 located at 115 East Butler Avenue. And for the sake of reference, to make life easy, the property being discussed was the Creekside Tavern Bar, restaurant, and the applicant is now Beaver Building and Remodeling. I will say that this has been approved by the HARB and would wonder if anybody would care to make a motion to approve COA 21-04.
So moved, Ms. Myerson.
Mitch Myerson made the motion,
Marilyn Jacobson, second.
second by Marilyn Jacobson. Any questions, comments, or discussion from council? Yes, Mitch?
Did he provide any pictures? I don't remember seeing the pictures.
I have to look.
Pictures in the HARB application.
Yes. There's a full application in the HARB packet, which you can look up on our website.
Okay.
And this was approved by HARB. Any other questions, comments, or discussion? Anything from the public? I see none. In that case, COA we can do by voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion also carries 6-0. Action item number 3 is consideration to approve certificate of appropriateness for HARB application 21-05 for a new garage due to a fire destroying previous structure in February 2021 at 24 Maple Avenue, a residential property owned by Mark and Lori Heinlein. And the application is in the packet, and this has been approved by our HARB board. Would anybody care to make a motion for COA 2105?
So this is Marilyn Jacobson, so moved.
Second, Ms. Myerson.
Motion by Marilyn Jacobson, second by Mitch Meyerson. Questions, comments, or discussion from council? I see none. Anything from the public? I see none. Then a vote is in order. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Action item number 4 will be a consideration to approve a deed of dedication between Chalfont View and Chalfont Borough for all of those certain improvements consisting of 1,288 feet of linear roadway improvements, inclusive of curbing, speed bumps, traffic signals, and sidewalks along Westview Avenue. Mike McGinnis or Sean, anything for explanation before we make a motion? If one is to be made.
I would state, Mr. President, that this is an item that was remaining outstanding on Chalfont View's end. That's always been envisioned, that at the end of this process, Chalfont View would offer a deed of dedication to the borough with respect to what I'm just going to label for brevity's sake, the Westview Avenue improvements. So that is what this covers. Chalfont View, the entity behind Chalfont View, has signed this document already. The original will be at the borough. My understanding is tomorrow morning, but it just pertains to the Westview Avenue improvements that were always part of the process that was going to be dedicated to the borough at the end of this. And Pat, if there's anything else you want to add, obviously feel free.
No, you covered it. It's those roadway improvements, traffic signal improvements, and sidewalk improvements.
Would anyone care to make let me just, for the sake of information of everyone, because we haven't had public with us for effectively a year plus, the way this works is typically with action items, we may get explanation or background, and then in order to have a discussion in theory, according to parliamentary procedure, we would then have a motion which may or may not be approved, be made, if it's seconded, could be voted on, but then discussion from council, then discussion from the public, a final call for discussion, and then a vote is how we normally do things. So, would anybody care to make a motion to approve the deed of dedication between Chalfont View and Chalfont Borough regarding Westview Avenue?
I'll make that motion, Marilyn Jacobson.
Is there a second? Okay, Don, motion by Marilyn Jacobson, second by Tracy Bowen, excuse me. I'm sorry, Tracy, I didn't mean to mangle your name. Any questions, comments, or discussion from council? I see none. Anything from the public? Again, I'm sorry. Mr. Pupo, did you have a question? I'm not sure.
No, I'm sorry. I was just my hands are nervous. Don't bother me.
No, I'd rather err on asking than overlooking. Thank you, sir. We have a motion for a deed of dedication. Again, I believe a voice vote would be appropriate, although it doesn't, well, yeah, it can be a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Aye.
That motion carries 6-0. And action item number 5 is consideration to approve a sidewalk easement agreement between members of the Lot/Kilroy family and Chalfont Borough for parcels 07-006-054 and 07-006-055, located at 253 North Main Street. Sean, Pat, anybody want to add anything to this before we see if there's a motion?
This was discussed a couple months ago at our council meeting. This is an off-site improvement for the Schoolhouse Meadows land development. This is putting a missing link of sidewalk in on the neighboring property. So this easement just gives us the permission we need to go in there and perform the work.
Very good. Would anybody care to make a motion to approve sidewalk easement between the Lot Kilroy family and Chalfont Borough for the parcels as stated earlier?
Second.
Motion by Mitch Meyerson and a second by Marilyn Jacobson. Any questions, comments, or discussion from council? None. Anything from the public? In that case, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. That motion carries 6-0. And with that, we conclude our action items and move to old business. We have received a letter from Chalfont View Planned Community HOA regarding plowing request for Ruthie's Way. And this was discussed 2 meetings ago. And what I would like to do is refer this to staff, both the manager and professional staff, to review this request, as this is the first time council has seen the written request. And my suggestion would be that we would make the decision. A letter from Chalfont View Planned Community HOA regarding plowing request for Ruthie's Way. And this was discussed. That's me on a 7-second time delay, apparently. I have no idea why. I mean, this is the fun of our first in-person virtual conference call meeting. What I had said, and because I'm not sure who heard what, we'll try it one more time. My suggestion is that I would like to see this referred to staff, both professional borough staff, legal staff, or our solicitor, for consideration, as this is the first time that most of us have seen this written correspondence. If there's no objection, we will take that action. Is there any objection from council? Mr. Pupo.
I'd just like to interject that this is solely snow removal, nothing else. We're not asking it for anything but snow removal. Thank you.
You are welcome. I do understand that, but I think we need time to research this carefully. I personally, and now I'm speaking as just a single member of council, have not had enough time to discuss this with staff, possible ramifications, liabilities, advantages, disadvantages. And so I personally think that we need to look into this and get back next council meeting, or perhaps, I guess we would have to wait till the next council meeting, because it would be inappropriate for staff to make a decision for council if we did not bring it before council for discussion before we act. Does anybody object? Hang on, folks. I'm sorry, fire engine just went by. If there's no objection, that's the direction we'll take. I see no direction, so that's what we will do with the old business. I am not aware of any new business. Does anybody have any new business? I should say there is no other old business. The correspondence, effectively, we covered under old business. Is there any other correspondence, Don or Sean? Oh.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Do we have any public comment from our public visiting us at the meeting? And that brings us to announcements. Our packet, quite frankly, on the meetings is not quite accurate because of the changes that occurred somewhere between Friday and today on the state law level of things. The Police Commission Finance Committee will meet, bear with me, as I announced earlier, at 6 o'clock, Thursday, June 17th at Del Val College, followed by the full Police Commission meeting at 7 o'clock at Del Val College. It will be an in-person meeting, and I am not aware if it will or will not be broadcast. I think it may not be. I think it won't be, but it will be at Del Val College in the big auditorium. The Chalfont Planning Committee will meet, if necessary, Monday, June 28th. And Sean, I'm going to assume all meetings will be at Borough Hall now. Is that correct?
Yes, that would be correct.
Okay. So,
Unless otherwise noted, you know, in the advertisement, but at this point, yes, our public meetings will be in person.
okay. Again, the Police Commission meeting, I've announced Chalfont Harbor, Tuesday, July 6th at 7 p.m. in Borough Hall. And Chalfont Borough Council next regularly scheduled meeting will be Monday, July 12th at 7 p.m. here in Borough Hall. And if there are any changes, it'll be advertised and noted on the website. And with no further business to come before the council, would anybody care to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Was that you, Mark Glidden? Who made the motion?
That was me, Mike Kelly.
Mike Kelly.
Mike Kelly made the motion, okay. Everybody made the motion. And with that, we will be adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Good night.
Thank you for putting up with the fun and games we've had tonight.